Velocity Vengeance Part 1. The city of Neon Heights was alive with the hum of engines and the glow of streetlights. In a secluded corner of the industrial district, a sleek, black muscle car idled, its engine purring like a contented beast. Leaning against the car, Alex checked his watch, impatience etched on his face. His partner, Riley, was running late. Just as Alex was about to call, the roar of a motorcycle echoed through the alley. Riley skidded to a halt beside him, pulling off her helmet to reveal a cascade of auburn hair and a mischievous grin. "Sorry, got caught up in some last-minute tweaks," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. Alex smirked. "You and your gadgets. What's the news?" Riley handed him a small, sleek device. "Our benefactor came through. We've got the blueprints for the facility. It's a fortress, but nothing we can't handle." Alex studied the device, his mind already racing with possibilities. And the team? Max is on his way, and Sophia's wrapping up her current assignment. We'll be ready. As if on cue, the rumble of a powerful engine announced Max's arrival. The burly mechanic stepped out of his custom-built truck, a grin spreading across his face. "Heard we're planning a little heist. Count me in." Alex nodded, his gaze shifting to the horizon. "This isn't just any heist. We're stealing a prototype supercar. High security, high stakes. But the payout, it's worth it." Max's grin widened. "You know I'm always up for a challenge." Riley's eyes sparkled with determination. "And I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to make sure we pull this off." Alex's phone buzzed, and he glanced at the screen. "A message from Sophia, on my way. Got some intel you'll want to hear." He pocketed the phone and turned to his crew. "All right, let's get to work. We've got a lot of planning to do." As they gathered around, the city lights flickered, casting long shadows. The night was just beginning, and so was their adventure. The crew assembled in a dimly lit garage, the air thick with the scent of motor oil and adrenaline. Blueprints and maps were spread across a large table, illuminated by a single overhead lamp. Alex stood at the head of the table, his eyes scanning the faces of his team. "All right, let's go over the plan," he began. "The target is a prototype supercar housed in a high-security facility on the outskirts of the city. Our benefactor wants it, and he's willing to pay a fortune for it." Riley tapped a spot on the blueprint. "The facility is guarded by state-of-the-art security systems. Cameras, motion sensors, armed guards, the works. But there's a weak point here, in the northwest corner. It's a blind spot in their camera coverage." Max leaned in, his brow furrowed. "And how do we get past the guards?" Sophia, who had just arrived, chimed in. "I've got that covered. I've been working undercover at the facility for the past month. I know their routines, their shifts, and their weaknesses. We hit them during the shift change at midnight. That's when security is at its weakest." Alex nodded. "Good. Riley, you'll handle the tech. Disable the cameras and sensors. Max, you'll be our getaway driver. Sophia, you'll guide us through the facility. I'll handle the guards." The team nodded in agreement, their expressions serious. They knew the risks, but they also knew the rewards. This heist could set them up for life. As the night wore on, they fine-tuned their plan, going over every detail, every contingency. By the time the first light of dawn crept through the garage windows, they were ready. Midnight found the crew parked a few blocks away from the facility, their vehicles hidden in the shadows. Alex checked his watch one last time. "All right, it's go time. Everyone ready?" A chorus of affirmations met his ears. Riley, perched on her motorcycle, gave him a thumbs up. Max revved the engine of his truck, a confident grin on his face. Sophia adjusted her earpiece, her eyes focused and determined. "Let's do this," Alex said, his voice steady. They moved swiftly and silently, sticking to the shadows as they approached the facility. Riley worked her magic, disabling the cameras and sensors with a few keystrokes on her tablet. Sophia led them through the blind spot, her knowledge of the facility's layout proving invaluable. As they reached the entrance, Alex signaled for them to stop. 2 guards stood watch, their eyes scanning the area. Alex moved like a shadow, taking them out with swift, precise movements. The guards crumpled to the ground, unconscious. "Clear," he whispered. They slipped inside, navigating the labyrinthine corridors with Sophia's guidance. The facility was eerily quiet, the only sound the soft hum of machinery. They reached the garage where the prototype was housed, and Alex's breath caught in his throat. The car was a thing of beauty, all sleek lines and raw power. It gleamed under the fluorescent lights, a testament to cutting-edge engineering. "All right, let's get this baby out of here," Max said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Riley worked quickly, bypassing the security on the garage door. It slid open with a soft hiss, and Max climbed into the driver's seat of the prototype. The engine roared to life, a deep, throaty growl that sent shivers down Alex's spine. "Let's move," Alex said, his voice urgent. They made their way back to the entrance, the prototype following closely behind. Just as they were about to exit, an alarm blared, shattering the silence. "Go, go, go!" Alex shouted. They sprinted for their vehicles, the sound of approaching guards echoing through the corridors. Max floored the gas pedal, the prototype shooting forward like a bullet. Riley and Alex followed on their motorcycle and muscle car, Sophia riding shotgun with Alex. The chase was on. The streets of Neon Heights blurred past in a kaleidoscope of lights and shadows as the crew raced through the city. The guards were hot on their tail, their vehicles closing in fast. "Hang on!" Max shouted, taking a sharp turn that sent the prototype skidding sideways. Riley and Alex followed suit, their vehicles hugging the road with practiced precision. Alex glanced in the rearview mirror, his heart pounding. "We've got company." "Riley, any ideas?" Riley's voice crackled over the earpiece. "I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. Just keep them off me for a minute." Alex nodded, focusing on the road ahead. He weaved through traffic, using every ounce of his skill to keep the guards at bay. Sophia leaned out the window, her gun at the ready, picking off the guards one by one. "Now!" Riley shouted. A burst of light erupted from her motorcycle, blinding the pursuing guards. Their vehicles swerved, crashing into each other in a cacophony of metal and glass. "Nice work," Alex said, a grin spreading across his face. They sped through the city, the sound of sirens fading into the distance. As they reached the outskirts, Alex breathed a sigh of relief. They had done it. They had pulled off the heist of a lifetime. But as they regrouped in a secluded warehouse, the reality of their situation set in. They had been double-crossed. The prototype was rigged with a tracking device, and their benefactor was nowhere to be found. "Looks like we've got a new mission," Alex said, his voice grim. "Find our benefactor and make him pay." The crew nodded, their expressions determined. They had come this far, and they weren't about to back down now. The night was far from over, and their adventure had only just begun. The warehouse was dimly lit, the only illumination coming from a few scattered lamps and the glow of computer screens. The crew gathered around a large table, the prototype supercar parked nearby, its sleek lines casting long shadows on the concrete floor. Alex stood at the head of the table, his expression serious. "All right, we've been double-crossed. Our benefactor set us up, and now we've got a tracking device on the car. We need to find out who he is and what he's planning." Riley tapped away on her laptop, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I'm working on tracing the signal from the tracking device. It should lead us back to whoever planted it. Max leaned against the car, his arms crossed. And what do we do once we find him? Alex's eyes hardened. We make him pay. But first, we need to disable this tracker and get off the grid. Riley, how long will it take? Riley glanced up, her eyes determined. Give me an hour. I can disable the tracker and set up a decoy signal to throw them off our trail. Good, Alex said. Max, get the car ready. We need to be mobile as soon as Riley's done. Sophia, I want you to dig into our benefactor's background. Find out everything you can about him. Sophia nodded, her fingers already flying over her phone screen. On it. As the crew dispersed to their tasks, Alex took a moment to reflect. They had pulled off the heist, but the real challenge was just beginning. They were up against a powerful enemy, and they couldn't afford any mistakes. An hour later, the crew reconvened. Riley had successfully disabled the tracker and set up a decoy signal. The prototype was ready to move, and Sophia had gathered some preliminary intel on their benefactor. His name is Victor Kane, Sophia said, her voice steady. He's a high-level player in the underground racing scene. Owns several chop shops and has connections to various criminal organizations. He's ruthless and well-connected. Alex's jaw tightened. Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. Any idea why he wanted the prototype? Sophia shook her head. Not yet. But I did find something interesting. Kane has a private compound on the outskirts of the city. Heavily guarded, but it's our best lead. Alex nodded. All right, we need to get to that compound and find out what Kane's planning. Riley, can you hack into their security system? Riley grinned. Piece of cake. I'll need to get close to the compound to access their network, though. Max, you'll be our getaway driver again, Alex said. Sophia, you'll provide cover. I'll handle the infiltration. The crew nodded in agreement, their expressions determined. They had a plan, and they were ready to execute it. The night was dark and moonless as the crew approached Victor Kane's compound. They parked a few blocks away, their vehicles hidden in the shadows. Riley set up her equipment, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she hacked into the compound's security system. I'm in, she whispered. I've disabled the cameras and sensors. We have a small window to get in and out. Alex nodded. Let's move. They slipped through the shadows, sticking to the cover of trees and buildings as they approached the compound. Sophia kept watch, her eyes scanning the area for any signs of trouble. As they reached the perimeter, Alex signaled for them to stop. Two guards stood watch, their eyes scanning the area. Alex moved like a shadow, taking them out with swift, precise movements. The guards crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Clear, he whispered. They slipped inside, navigating the labyrinthine corridors with Riley's guidance. The compound was eerily quiet, the only sound the soft hum of machinery. They reached a large room filled with computer servers and monitors. This is it, Riley said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. I'll download everything I can find on Kane's operations. Alex and Sophia kept watch as Riley worked, their eyes and ears alert for any signs of trouble. Minutes ticked by, each one feeling like an eternity. Got it, Riley said finally, pulling a USB drive from the computer. Let's get out of here.